Manchester City are back.
But if you look at him now, he's got that spark back even in his eyes. You can see it.
Doku gets the ball now. Doku can attack Konate. In the position to shoot. Scores! Jeremy Doku!
Whenever you hear people talking about how boring they are, that's when you know City are back in title contention.
But I don't enjoy watching their football. I think it's, paralysis by analysis in terms of pass. I'd much rather watch Liverpool and to some extent Arsenal.
Pep is coming back for his throne and he isn't letting anyone stop him.
I think Pep will be sitting there going, we're certainly back in the mix.
So if they can keep those players together and somehow, keep some momentum going and get close, they're going to be really, really dangerous towards the end just through their experience.
Even at their lowest, the bald man knew that his team would make a comeback.
And still have to adjust some things, few things, but hopefully it can happen.
I already know the Arsenal fans are shaking. Whenever City have chased them, they have ended up crumbling.
I think Arsenal are the better team, but they're the one team that I wouldn't want and the one manager that I wouldn't want on my shoulder going in down the back straight.
But if there's one team that could stop Arsenal, yeah, I would pick Man City.
The most interesting thing about this new City squad is they are dominating teams again, but doing it in a new way.
They're letting other teams dictate to them in possession. They're not dominating games anymore.
And their message is clear. We're coming for you all again.
Pep has a brand new game plan, a style of play that is almost the complete opposite of what he used before to dominate the Premier League.
Times are changing, football is changing, Pep Guardiola is adapting. This isn't a rebuild, it's a cold, calculated refresh.
You can always kind of tell when things are going well at Manchester City and when Pep Guardiola is particularly delighted because it's written all over his face, and at the end of that game he was celebrating with everyone, cuddling everyone. It just seems to be like quite a good vibe with them at the moment.
Yeah, I think he knows his team's getting back to its best.
He knew he had to adapt because last season reminded him that football is always changing.
Okay, so football is that. So winning or losing, what's next chapter? No, next chapter is the season. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but we are, I think, the desire to do well.
The 2024-2025 season was undoubtedly an off year for Manchester City.
Well, it's the most challenging time in City's recent history.
And I'm not good enough. It's as simple as that.
A campaign that Pep Guardiola himself described as a season of survival.
The season start difficult, will be difficult all season. So you have to survive, it's a season to survive.
For a team accustomed to winning, this was torture. Pep City won so much that winning the Premier League with them felt like losing your virginity to a prostitute. Imagine winning 6 Premier League titles in 7 years, then suddenly you find yourself having to fight till the last match day for Champions League football.
Of course, for all the clubs, it's better to win Champions League than in Europa League. That's for sure.
Could be worse though. You could be like the other Manchester team and be chilling in the lower half of the table.
People say now we are 4 now. It could be 11 or 12 or 13 or 14. I don't have any doubts of that.
It felt like they were losing every week. A humiliating 4-0 defeat to Tottenham at the Etihad. A complete collapse against Feyenoord in the Champions League.
Manchester City have thrown away a 3-0 advantage.
I mean, how are you up 3-0 with like 15 minutes to go and you draw 3-3? Then they somehow lost to Amorim's United. These moments weren't just lost points. They significantly ruined the team's confidence. I mean, look at the scratches on Pep's head.
I want to hurt myself, yeah.
This guy was losing his mind, which is understandable. I mean, imagine winning almost every single game you play, and then suddenly you're in a position where you can't even buy a win.
I don't like it. I slept not as good as I slept when I won every game.
When I used to go on a losing streak in FIFA or in Foot Champs, I was breaking everything.
I'm gonna break my monitor, I swear.
Now, people kept giving them the benefit of the doubt because they had a history of really getting into form in the second half of the season, then bulldozing through everyone the way athletes bulldoze through Kim Kardashian. Like, how many times did we see City in a position where they were second or third, then they would go on a run of 20 wins, and boom, once May comes around, they're lifting the Premier League trophy. Yet, as time went by, nothing changed. In fact, other teams were smelling blood. They knew that they could beat this version of Pep City. Bournemouth beat them. Arsenal slapped them. Brighton got a win. Now, injuries made the situation a lot worse. An obvious one is losing Rodri. We know how important he was. Ballon d'Or winner. A guy who missed 3 games in the 2024 season and City lost all 3. He was irreplaceable. Not just because of his talent, but because there was literally nobody else at the time who could play in his position. There's someone who can play there now, but I'll get to that later in the video. Nobody else could play as the sole pivot. Nobody could defend and score. Now, of course, the collapse goes far beyond just one injury. The Rodri reason could have been used if City finished second in the Premier League or just fell short in the Champions League. But this drop-off is due to more reasons than Rodri being out. Another injury that halted the team was Haaland. The Norwegian robot was plagued by reoccurring ankle issues, which significantly impacted City's attack, because without Julian Alvarez, they had nobody else that could play up front. His partner in crime in Kevin De Bruyne was also injured for even longer parts of the season. That duo was one of the biggest reasons why City had won the treble in 2023 and a league title in 2024. If you guys remember, KDB came back from injury midway through that season and just casually put up 18 assists. Premier League teams were shaking when he returned like he's Voldemort or something. Eddie Howe couldn't believe his eyes when the Ginger Maestro came off the bench to completely turn around the City vs Newcastle game.
Yeah, the quality told in the end. I thought the substitution of De Bruyne, obviously world-class player. He scored one, he's assisted one, and he's made the difference, really.
But reportedly, he was never even offered a contract. But City were probably scared that they were getting too sentimental with the veteran players. And it makes sense because senior players like Ilkay Gundogan, Kyle Walker, Bernardo Silva, guys who were usually the pillars of consistency at the club, experienced some pretty big dips. Pretty sure in parts of the season that wasn't Kyle Walker at right back, that was Lincoln Burrows from Prison Break. Guardiola's continued reliance on these guys was a problem. It showed the trust that had been built over the years of shared success, but it also showed a reluctance to move towards the next generation. In big 2025 Pep, you can't be running the Bermuda Triangle of Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, and Kovacic in the midfield. At least not without Rodri. Not during a period where the athleticism in the Premier League has been sky high. What didn't help is that Phil Foden had one of the biggest drop-offs I've ever seen. The guy went from being the Premier League Player of the Year, scoring clutch goal after goal for City, dunking on Madrid at the Bernabeu, yet now he plays like English Garnacho. I don't know what happened to him. Usually when a player drops off like this, you have to look for external reasons in his personal life, because from a footballing perspective it makes no sense. Yes, the team as a whole struggled, but he just looked a shadow of himself. The team was struggling in parts in 2024 as well, but it was Foden who was dragging them out. He stepped up hugely, considering that KDB was not playing then. But in the 2025 season, nothing. There was a brief period in the new year where he basically scored in every single game for 4 games in a row, but that was it. Fortunately, that horrible year is gone, and City are back to dominating again. I guess Pep was right. Those losses were needed.
Me personally, I need that losses. I want to be honest. For the club, it's exceptional that happened.
This interview always kills me because he looks like he's being held hostage, tied to the chair. City had to go through a bad period so that the players got their hunger back. When you keep winning and winning, you can lose your desire. I also think it's hilarious how a bad season for Pep is a 3rd place finish and a cup final. For most managers, that's a great season, but those are the standards when you are the GOAT. The good thing, like I said though, is everyone looks more motivated this season. Foden, who looked more done than Suarez's knees last year, is back to scoring and playing with a joy on his face.
How close is he to getting back to his best form?
I would say he's already there. There's no need to be closer. He's already there. So
Haaland is scoring even more goals than before.
Haaland in the penalty area. City 2.
Doku is looking like Ronaldinho.
Everyone that he plays against, doesn't matter who it is, he's gonna cause problems.
Nico Gonzalez looks like Rodri's regen.
He's so young, 23. Remember like a mini Rodri. In terms of, it's a big compliment, but he's had the feeling for the present, the big, you know, that have the duels, and the other one, of course, is miles away from Rodri. Rodri is the best, but of course, I had the feeling, everyone had the feeling, his mates, that he's going to help us. That was part of the season, his presence, long balls and backwards.
And even Mateus Nunes has become a very good right back. The biggest reason that everyone looks good again is because Pep changed his style. He has always adapted and refined his tactics to stay at the top, and he's done it again. He's moved away from strict positional rules to something more fluid. Before, he would divide the pitch into 6 horizontal rows and 5 vertical columns. Then he made sure that no more than 3 players are standing in the same row, and no more than 2 are standing in the same column. That's been the base of Pep's coaching forever. It's why his teams always look so fluid, but they never lose their structure. It's also why he says formations don't really matter. The rules stay the same whether he's in a 4-3-3 or a 3-2-4-1. His players just know where to not stand. But now that Pep has managed as many games as Bonnie Blue has smashed dudes, things are changing. If you look at City's recent games, those old rules seem to have gone out the window. Against Bournemouth, his team played in a way that you would never expect from a Guardiola side. Instead of being spread out, they had 3 or 4 players packed tightly together in the middle. His idea was to pull the defenders out of position and open up space for Haaland to run him behind. For Haaland's first goal, City's front 6 were all super close together in the middle. Nico Gonzalez chipped it, Cherki headed it down, and Haaland finished. For the second goal, it was almost identical. Everyone crowded in the center, a couple of few slick passes, and the Norwegian robot was through again. Now you might say, Ped, this isn't new. His team have always played close together to play these quick short passes. Yes, but here's the twist. One of the players who was drifting inside was Jeremy Doku. On paper, he's the most traditional winger City have, a player who's fast, loves to dribble, and thrives in 1v1 situations. But in this new system, Pep uses him like a hybrid. He's part winger, part attacking midfielder. At times, Doku pops up right in the middle of the pitch, around the center circle, which confused the Liverpool midfielders. They didn't know whether to press him or stay in position. Then seconds later, he'd be out wide again, burning past defenders. He wasn't just drifting inwards, he was kind of going everywhere. Sometimes he'd drag defenders across the pitch, sometimes he'd make diagonal runs into the box. Then other times he would just stay tight to the touchline. That movement created space for Haaland and the midfielders to do their damage. And the funny thing is that Doku isn't your typical wide open space winger like Leroy Sané or Raheem Sterling. His real strength isn't his acceleration over short distances. He's lightning quick over 5 yards, which makes him so deadly in tight spaces. That's why Pep has given him the freedom to play inside. That way defenders can't get set. Sure, sometimes he gets into great areas and his final pass isn't always perfect. I mean, he's not Messi. But when he's playing centrally, he has more options around him. And when he gets it right, like when he slipped Foden in behind, he's so dangerous. The stats back it up too. Against Liverpool, Doku became the first Premier League player since Eden Hazard in 2019 to score, win 10 plus duels, complete 7 plus dribbles, create 3 plus chances, and have 3 plus shots on target all in one game. Basically, he did everything. Even his goal showed how much freer he is. Instead of staying wide, he drifted inside, got a pass from Nico O'Reilly, and curled it in beautifully.
Doku gets the ball now. Doku can attack Konate in the position to shoot. Scores! Jeremy Doku! What a fabulous, fabulous strike!
When Pep subbed him off near the end, it was probably so the crowd could give him the applause he deserved. Doku's the kind of player who really feeds on confidence, and you could see how happy he was when he got the man of the match. He's such a cutie pie. But really, this isn't just about Doku. It's about what he represents, which is a new version of Pep ball. A version that's more flexible, more chaotic, and perhaps more dangerous than ever. When someone asked him about Jeremy Doku's positioning, he smiled and said, "I'm a genius, my friend."
Hi Pep, we saw Jeremy inside a lot in the first half. How did you think he did, and how did it make the team?
I'm a genius. Tactics, my friend.
Now, it might have sounded cocky, but to anybody with a brain, it's obvious Pep was joking. But he really might be a genius, because he constantly finds new ways to help his players solve problems on the pitch.
I said today I get the freedom to go outside, inside. So I said, Jeremy, you can go inside, you feel it, go outside when you feel it. When you go outside, Nico Phil can play.
This season, City's midfield passing combination has been incredible. They've been cutting through defensive lines like butter with these quick, clever passes. Doku's become more comfortable in tight spaces, and O'Reilly's profile fits perfectly because he helps overload the middle of the pitch. In the Manchester derby, for example, Doku drifted inside from the left, creating a 2 versus 1 situation. That moment really confused the United midfielder, and after a few quick passes through Rodri and Foden, City opened up space for Reijers to run in and shoot. A similar thing happened against Bournemouth. On paper, Doku and Cherki were wingers. Doku on the left, Cherki on the right. But on the actual pitch, both were tucking inside, crowding the midfield. That movement pulled Bournemouth's defensive block apart. Every time City circulated the ball, players like Doku and Foden would move in opposite directions, forcing defenders to make tough choices. Who do you follow and who do you leave open? At one point, Bournemouth's David Brooks was stuck deciding between marking Doku or Foden. The key to all of this is speed. The passes come so quickly that defenders can't react. Against Burnley, Doku drifted inside, played a quick 1-2 with Nico, and found Foden between the lines before Burnley's midfielders even realized what happened. Within seconds, the ball had moved to the right side and ended up in the net. It's the same pattern again and again. Short, fast passing, players rotating positions, and wingers moving inside to open up lanes for runners. Against Everton, Doku and O'Reilly perfectly timed their movements. Doku went narrow, O'Reilly pushed further forward. Foden dropped into the pocket, and just like that, O'Reilly was in behind to cross for Haaland's header. This guy is scoring a lot of goals this season, so you better celebrate them by wearing a Man City jersey. Just go to buygamejerseys.com and use code PETTALKS at checkout. Pep has always believed that tactics depend on the players you have.
I want to be clear, always I have some principles and fundamentals that don't change much. But after, I assure you, I adapt to the players I have.
So when Pep said he's a genius, he was joking, but the truth is, he kind of is. What we're seeing this season is Guardiola at his best, adapting his tactics to the players, teaching them how to move as one, and turning simple passes into unstoppable attacks. What's also helped Pep this season is that City really nailed their recruitment. No more unks on the pitch. The club has been rejuvenated with a lot of young blood. To see how good this new City team really is, you have to watch this video right here.